Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing well today or tonight, whenever and wherever you are listening to this. I hope that during this summertime you are making hay while the sun shines. Did you guys ever hear that when you were little? I heard all these weird sayings, and I don't know, in Spanish we call them dichos. Just sayings. My grandpa used to say, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So he would use that as his way of going to bed early, and then I'd catch him for 2 hours later. I'd see him with the light on. I'd knock on his door and he would say, "I'm reading my book. What do you want?" But I love my grandpa. He had good money. He was a self-made man. He made a ton of money being a roofer, but he actually died in his 60s. So going to bed early didn't help him much because he did die early, unfortunately. But he used to say, make hay while the sun shines, and I am making my show while the sun is kind of brightening the sky. Shining is a little bit of a stretch as far as words go. Oh, there's so many clouds still. Why? I want it to be beautiful and sunny and warm, and it's just cold and rainy and overcast and blah today. But I'm looking at this beautiful sky that, even though it's covered in clouds, we've got cobalt blue and golden layers, and I'm seeing a little bit of silver. Kind of like a silvery blue energy coming in. So it's cool. It's not bad, But anyway, make hay while the sun shines. I don't know. That got in my mind today, and I laughed about it because, first of all, there's not one human on the whole wide planet that can actually make hay. Well, unless they're a spiritual master, then you're creating hay out of thin air. But but as far as making hay, it seems to me that only God put the genetic code into the plants so that they can grow when given the right conditions. So really, technically, only God can grow hay, make hay. But what that means, though, is that you're making the most of your day while you've got your day. And I've been just living for the nighttime lately in the past few months, and I've recently decided that I'm going to get up early, earlier, not early, never too early ever, but I'm going to start getting up a little bit earlier. So by maybe the weekend, I'll have like the whole day. Maybe I could go to the zoo and pet some monkeys. It's not even too far from my house, but I haven't done it. But I did hear a little rumor that the monkeys know how to escape if you give them proper incentive. And I want to go cuddle with monkeys. They're so adorable. I don't know if you guys have ever had the privilege of playing with monkeys. They're super fun and super intelligent animals, and I don't know, I really want to go to the zoo and talk to the monkeys. Hopefully, maybe I'll get to pet some birds too. Sometimes birds come to the zoo that don't belong in the zoo, but they get free food, so they kind of glom on to whatever birds are being captive there. And this happened in Detroit, at the Detroit Zoo. And what was really weird is these really strange looking birds that no one had ever seen before started making these ginormous nests in the trees outside of like the emu exhibit. And I asked a zookeeper, I'm like, what is going on there? Like, what happened? Like, where did these birds come from? I've never seen anything like it. Are they native species to Michigan or what? And the lady told me, no, we have no clue what kind of birds these are. They're not native to North America at all. We've never seen them. We don't know what they are. We have been trying for months to figure it out. They just decided to move in out of nowhere. They made these enormous nests, and they share the food with the birds inside there, and we can't capture them. So I guess they started feeding extra food so that they could feed these birds too. Well, imagine my surprise when those exact same birds are all throughout Barranco area of Lima, Peru. When I first got there, and I lived in Barranco for about a month while looking for an apartment to rent, and here are these birds. They're just right there. It's like, wait a minute, these are the birds we saw in Detroit. What the hell? And I mean, these birds are huge. They're huge birds. They're really weird looking. A little, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but they're a little ugly. But they're huge, and they're like, they've got these enormous wings, and they're the exact same birds I saw in Detroit. Now, I can't remember if I actually wrote to these people or not. I think I might have, to say, hey, I found what kind of bird it is. But in Barranco, there's this one little section that it's like this walk. It's very sweet. It's very romantic. You go next to like a park where they have these giant sculptures of ants, which I did not appreciate, because the last thing I want to imagine is that ants are bigger than me. That ants can crush me after the millions of murders I've committed on ants, killing them in their tracks when they come into my home. So last thing I'd want to see is an ant bigger than me, because I'm in trouble if they know. Maybe it's in my aura that I've like gone after, millions and millions of ants in my lifetime. I feel guilty about it, but there's nothing you can do when, you get overrun. The armies invade your home, you know what I mean? But along this beautiful walk, there's like murals, paintings, really amazing art. And then there's this bridge called the Lover's Bridge. So you have to go up these huge stairs, and the Lover's Bridge kind of looks out over the ocean and also over Barranco. And it's kind of romantic, and whatever wish lovers say on this bridge comes true. I had a boyfriend, and we never went to the Lover's Bridge, though. Although we did have a couple really awesome dates in Barranco. For some reason, he kept avoiding the bridge. Or he might not have known, to be honest, he might not have known the legend. He doesn't seem to be the kind of person to pay attention to this stuff, but he took me to a few cool places over there. But when you walk on the main path, there's so many of those trees, and they nest at night in those trees. And I mean, you're going to get bombarded by bird crap. So it's like this super sweet, romantic place for lovers to go. But the people who are there as tourists always get crapped on. I mean, the ground is just covered. looks almost like a white sidewalk, and it's actually a gray sidewalk. And it's like so funny to me because I saw people all acting all la 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 la, you know, so hand in hand, and then they're like, ah, then they start running because of the birds above them. It's like, I knew I was there for like 2 days when I saw that. I went, oh, I'm not going to take that path. I'm going to go up the stairs away from those trees because I see these birds that were in Detroit. But anyway, so I just thought that was hilarious. I always thought that was interesting, though, that I think sometimes a species, especially birds, they can get turned around in what's going on with the magnetosphere and the atmosphere. And, you know, I think these birds they flew a little too far and they got confused and they kept flying and they just got turned around. They went all the way from South America throughout Central America and all the way up to North America and landed in Detroit. It's very weird, these birds. But I don't know, the Detroit Zoo is an amazing place if you ever want to see a good zoo. I mean, Los Angeles Zoo is good. It's really awesome. You're going to climb a lot of hills in the Los Angeles Zoo, but the Detroit Zoo is nice. It's like flat. The whole thing is flat. There's a couple hills, but most of it's flat, and you can just go look at the wolves and the bears, and none of them are in cages. The only thing in cages there are monkeys, because monkeys do escape. But everything else, there's like hardly any cages, and the rest of it is they've made like these giant moats around all of the enclosures so the animals can't get out, but they don't feel encaged. And all the animals there are really happy. I mean, I saw the wolves smile, and they're playing, and they're just having the best time. The bears love it. The bears are always waving to you when you walk by. You know, one bear kind of pissed off. I said I'd be back again like in a week, and it took a month for me to come back, and he got really mad at me. He gave me a dirty look. The only animals there that weren't happy were the baboons. The baboons were really mad. They didn't want to be there at all. But every other animal they saw in the whole zoo in Detroit, they were super, super happy. Especially these birds that moved in. It was so weird. But anyway, I don't always love the idea of keeping animals in, in captivity. But if the animals themselves were born in captivity and they don't mind it and they don't know the difference, I think it's okay. I don't think it's great, but it's okay, you know? And it's good for people to learn about animals, and they might care more about animals that are in the wild, actually. And speaking of which, please go to the Sierra Club website if you are so inclined, because they gutted the Endangered Species Act. That means that whales, bears, wolves, they're all going to even bald eagle, all those animals are going to become extinct because of Donald Trump. If you don't sign the petition, just go and sign. I don't know even what signing the petition will do, but it's like the only thing we can do sometimes is just to sign our petition, let our voice be known. I mean, don't dwell on the negativity of it, but why we even need a petition in the first place. Don't dwell on that stuff. Just dwell for 5 minutes, signing it, and then moving on with your day. I don't normally talk about political stuff directly like that, but this one kind of made me mad. I mean, we got to protect our animals. I was an animal trainer in heaven. I taught the animals how to deal with living among humans that are not aware spiritually. Because when we're all in heaven together, the animals, the people, and animals do go to heaven, in spite of what the Catholic Church taught me when I was a kid, which made me turn away from the church immediately because I knew they were liars. I asked, because when my cat died, when I was like 3 or 4, my parents took me to the priest, and I asked him, and he told me that animals don't have a soul, and so they can't go to heaven, so that I'll never see my cat again. Like, what kind of a bastard tells a 3-year-old that? You know? What a dick bag. It's like, if they're not lying to the kids, they're... Okay, never mind what they're doing to the kids, but keep your kids away from priests. I mean, completely. Like, that's just ridiculous. I mean, why couldn't they have just said, well, you know what, anything is possible if you ask God, that's something you tell a 3-year-old. You know what I mean? It's like ridiculous. But I knew that he was lying and didn't know anything, and so that's what made me turn away from the church. The first thing that made me, that was like the first nail in the coffin of my being a Catholic forever. I mean, the free wine was fun every week, but I mean, now that I'm adult, I could buy my own wine and have free wine every day. Maybe not free, but I mean, I could afford wine every day if I really wanted it. That was, I could be a wino. I could do it if I wasn't so lazy and didn't want to go to I don't want to go to the store every single day. And I don't want to carry bags and bags and bags of wine bottles, so I'm in a way, I'm too lazy to be a wino every day, but I had some amazing champagne the other day. It was excellent. But anyway, I don't know, but we all are in heaven together with the animals, and the animals can speak our language. We can speak their language. We all understand each other. We're all friends. We recognize each other as beings created by the one will. And that's, when we're there, we can talk to animals. Everything's cool. That's why I have so many dreams that I'm here, or like I'm there in heaven and I'm talking to the animals. I have dreams constantly. Buffalo come up and talk to me. They give me advice. They're really wise animals. I've had dreams where I'm in the ocean with the whales and the dolphins, and they're teaching me lessons and spiritual things. My whole life I've had dreams like this. It's like normal. It's normal for me. But so we're all in heaven together, So I just feel like you have to do as much as you can to save the animals while we're here. They'll know when you get over there on the other side. It might be in 5 days or in 50 years, but whenever it is that you get over there, they're going to talk to you, They're going to see what you did, and they'll thank you for signing the petition. Anyway. All right, enough of that. I'm going to get into the disclosurenews.it tonight. We'll start at the 10:30 a.m. Reading, or her writing, the report. Blah. Okay. Today's August 13th as I am writing this. Oh, hey, it's my friend's birthday. I've got to write to her, tell her happy birthday. Oh, no, wait, that's September 13th. Never mind, she's a Virgo. We're still in Leo, right? Okay. Never mind. Still in Leo. My birthday's coming up, guys, so soon. I'm so excited. All right. I keep thinking about it. It's like, what am I going to do for my birthday? I don't know. I want to go to the Galapagos Islands, but I can't afford it right now, so I don't know. Maybe I will take my son and myself to the coast and kick it at the beach for a day or two. Ooh, I just looked up in the clouds and there was this perfect face, like a divine comedy and tragedy masks. Ooh, there's actually two faces. That's what it looks like. But one of them was more obvious the comedy mask. All right, now it's just faded back into the clouds. I love all of what the higher guidance is giving us through the clouds. Have you guys gotten the cloud messages? Keep looking to the skies. You're going to get some crazy messages. If you say, hey, I'm aware this is going to happen, all of a sudden it'll happen all the time. Now I'm seeing a pink energy in the sky, so we're getting some pink energy waves from the other realms, at least in South America here. All right. Schumann resonance news from 10:30 a.m. Today is presenting us a medium activity in progress with variations in the amplitude of the resonance that started at 4 a.m. UTC. The first peaks were on 25 hertz, while the one that is the highest until now has reached 37 hertz at 7:30 UTC. A further intense peak reached 32 at 9:30 UTC. So even though it's less than the other one, I guess they're calling it intense because it lasted longer. All right. At 1700, the evening report, after the peaks described previously, the variations in amplitude decreased until calm was reached at 1300 UTC time. Awesome. So basically, it just kind of looks like, let's see, what does it say here? It says 47 hertz, so that's weird because they have like a section that just says the highest peak of the day, and it says 47. I'm looking if they just didn't cut and paste from the last time. Yeah, no, it says 25 and then 37 and 32. But in the thing it says 47, so maybe it was a typo and it hit 47 in Italy. Anyway, we're going to now just go to the live data from earlier today. All right. Starting, of course, with California like we do. Oh, goodness. I'm learning how to work the Heart Math Institute's website a little better. Heart Math it's heartmath.org, and it has a lot of interesting stuff on the website. If you guys ever care to go visit online. All right. Okay, at midnight in California, the Schumann resonance was 151 hertz. It was 147 hertz at 1 a.m. in California. 142 at 2. At 3, it was 138, and at 4, it was down to 133 on the Schumann resonance scale. It's still huge. It's huge. Like in Italy, there's like hardly any activity. It's huge going down there in California. In Hofuf, Saudi Arabia, at midnight, the Schumann resonance was 86, and it remained so until 2 a.m. when it turned to 85. Just 1 point lower, and that remained until 4 a.m. when it went back to 86. So wasn't too much change in Hofuf, Saudi Arabia. Now in Lithuania at midnight, the Schumann resonance was 156, went up to 166 an hour later. 2 a.m. it was 174, 3 o'clock in the morning, it was 182, and then 188 at 4 a.m. in Lithuania. Now, Alberta, Canada, this is always the front runner and the exciting news one. 371. Oh, man. Makes me cough. It's like, it always shocks me. Okay, so midnight in Alberta, Canada, we had 371 hertz frequency on the Schumann resonance scale. God, that's huge. It was 358 at 1 a.m. It was 343 at 2 a.m. and then 327 at 3 a.m. and then down to 310 at 4 a.m. So it looks like it's doing a little bit of an arc there. All right, so in Northland, New Zealand, their Schumann resonance was 98 at midnight, went down to 96 an hour later, then down to 92 at 2, and at 3 it was 87, followed by 83 at 4 a.m. in Northland, New Zealand. Schumann resonance news for, oh my God, where is this? Why am I forgetting? I didn't look at the list today. I had it all. Oh yeah, Hulului. Hulului. In Hulului, South Africa, we had 102 Schumann resonance. 120, start that whole sentence over. 102 hertz frequency on the Schumann resonance scale at midnight in Hulului, South Africa. 100 at 1 o'clock, 98 at 2, 95 at 3, and 93 hertz frequency in Hulului, South Africa at 4 a.m. All right, let me ask my higher guidance because I didn't quite ask yet today. Okay, are we above 99? Of course not. We're not fully anchored in yet. Are we below 99 today? Are we below 98? Are we below 96? Are we below 95? Are we at 95? Guys, we are at 95 on the Ascension Symptom Scale. Have you guys noticed a break? I know that for the most part I did. I spent a lot of my time doing mundane things when I first woke up, just, besides brush my teeth, make my bed type stuff, coffee and all that. I was actually, I talked to a friend for about an hour. He works on an oil rig, so every now and again I hear from him. And he's home, he's in Texas, he's so happy. And they just got another job coming up in another country, so he gets to work on an oil rig in another country. I'm sure the view is the same, right? You're still in the ocean, looking at literally nothing. He showed me some cool pictures, though, of ocean squalls when the storms come up. There's damage on the rig, and really, stuff is interesting. I mean, all those jobs are going to go to the wayside as soon as everyone decides just to have solar and wind-powered cars. Wind-powered? That's got to be a thing, right? Use solar power to go, and the more you go into the wind, and you use the wind to make the car go faster. You'll never stop. I don't know. I love the magnet car in Japan, though. That's the car I want. I want to have a floating house. I want to have a piece of property with a floating house on it, so every day my house is in a different place. I'll just tether it to the ground with an anchor, like a boat, and just float around my property. Oh, I want a different view. We're going to turn the house around so I can look at the mountains today. Maybe tomorrow I'll look at the river. Of course, you have to have a piece of property at the river. I always thought that'd be super fun. As soon as I heard about that car a couple years ago. All right. Maybe it was just last year. I think it was a year ago I heard about it. But for a whole year I've wanted a floating house. I know it can be done. All right, so we're 95 on the Ascension Symptom Scale, and in A Course in Miracles today, acim.org, or your favorite Course in Miracles app. You can read this for yourself. The whole thing, I'm just going to read part. Lesson 66. My happiness and my function are one. And then later, here's some thoughts to review. God gives me only happiness. He has given my function to me. Therefore, my function must be happiness. And then later it says, my happiness and function are one because God has given me both. It says to really think about the words, think about it slowly. My happiness and my function are one. My happiness and my function are one. There it is. All right, guys, when we come back, I'm going to teach you guys how to read tarot cards for yourself or others, whether it's just asking questions or doing a full layout. I'm going to tell you both tonight how to do a Celtic cross layout, as well as just how to ask questions. How do you formulate the questions? Are they always yes or no? How do you do a yes or no question? And how do you do an open-ended question? All that for Tarot Tuesday when I come right back after this. If you're listening to this, you obviously like podcasts, and you probably like music too. Long walks on the beach, romantic dancing under the stars, and oh wait, we're not doing that right now. On Spotify, you can listen to all of that in one place for free, and you don't even need a premium account, which is cool. Free is always good. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, including your long romantic walks on the beach. Also, one thing I love about Spotify is that you can easily share what you're listening to with your friends via Spotify's integrations with the social platforms like Instagram. So that makes it really, really versatile. Just search for Metaphysical Soul Speak on the Spotify app or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. And follow me, of course, don't forget, so that you'll never again miss an episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak. Spotify is the world's leading music streaming service, and now it can be your go-to for podcasts too. Thank you guys so much for supporting Metaphysical Soul Speak on Spotify. Hi guys, I know that it's summertime, it's August, I was born in August, and I know this is a hot, hot month, especially if you're in the United States, and now we've sent the hotness over to Europe. So if you are enjoying the summer heat, but you're not enjoying what it's doing to your skin, I may have a solution for you. CTFO, known for its high-quality CBD oil hemp products, CTFO stands for Change the Future Outcome. Of course, this is changing the future outcome of your skin, your life, and, well, maybe your pocketbook if you decide to join the business for absolutely free. And the link is provided for the products and the business right in this show's description. I just wanted to let you know real quick that CTFO has a brand new full spectrum CBD oil, hemp oil infused SPF 30 sunscreen. So this looks amazing. This is really going to help you out with those fine lines, dark spots, and skin aging that normally would occur if you did not use any protection at all. As you know, CBD oil does help against free radicals. It helps get rid of wrinkles. It reverses skin conditions such as ruddiness, breakouts, and also inflammation in the skin. So this is a gentle, sheer formula enriched with antioxidants, and it protects all skin types as well as being water resistant. We also have a new After Sun skincare cream filled with vitamin D, and as you know, your skin would love to absorb the vitamin D, not just from the sun, but also from the cream after you're out of the sun. Remember, we talked about a couple weeks ago how vitamin D can help you absorb things like magnesium, potassium, vitamin C, and it goes down to the bone and it makes you so healthy. Vitamin D is excellent. And here it's this cream, this After Sun skincare cream has loads of vitamin D. So if you want to check it out, if you don't want to, that's cool. If you want to check it out, there is a link in the show's description. Just wanted to let you guys know. All right, guys, I have been telling you over the past, 2 months maybe, every Tuesday, Tarot Tuesdays, I've been telling you what different cards mean and what different suits mean. Now that you have all the meanings of everything, how do you put it together to read for yourself or others? There's different ways to shuffle the cards. You've got to clean your cards first, so we'll start there. If you have had a particularly nasty experience or somebody that you do not trust and you don't like their energy has touched your cards, then that's emergency card cleaning time. And how I do an emergency card cleaning, which I don't have to do because I don't let anyone touch my cards. Like, not at all. My son, I let touch my cards. I don't let anyone else touch them. My kids can because I trust their energy. So you have to be a little bit picky with that. But if you're reading over the internet or over the phone for somebody, it's very unlikely that someone will touch your cards that don't have good energy or whatever. So basically, you get some sea salt and you consecrate it. You can make holy water, which is even better. If you want to go get holy water at your local Catholic church, you can, but trust yourself to make it instead. I think it's better with sea salt, and you pour it into the normal water. Spring water is better, or even river water or anything, but just tap water if you're in a hurry. That's okay. Just ask your higher guidance to bless it. Ask God to bless it. Ask Divine Mother to bless it, right? And you could put your hand over the bowl and say, as you're moving your hands, put your fingers together, move your hand in a clockwise circle, say 9961, 9961, intensify and magnify. Thank you, Creator of all this is. And if you say that, it will purify the water. Again, we talked about 528 hertz frequency yesterday. That will purify water as well. Because you don't want impurities in your water. You don't want to have a memory of something negative in your water. And then you add your sea salt, Himalayan pink crystal salt, or sea salt, or Cusco salt from Peru, which is also pink. Someday I'll tell you why. You don't want to know why right now, why it's pink, but that's one for another day. But we have, so we have to make that, and adding rose essential oil or rose petals to the water just to make it perfect holy water. Rose essential oil has extremely high hertz frequency. I think it's like 4,000 hertz frequency. It's like really, really high vibration roses are. Organic roses especially. But if you get essential oil, put a couple drops in, that's your holy water, right? So you get a special dedicated cloth to clean your cards, and you dip it in the holy water and you say prayers while you are cleaning front and back of each individual card. Not with super wet, obviously these are paper cards, but you do a very, very light, damp cloth. That's in a dire emergency. Like, the town serial killer has gotten a hold of your cards. I mean, if that's the case, go buy new cards. Just forget it. Let it go. But as someone who's like super negative or abusive or jealous or just blah, someone's giving you the evil eye and they've touched your cards, if you can't afford a new deck, that's what you do to clean it. All right. So barring all that from happening, which probably it won't, another way to clean your cards is put them in order. Put them in order from 0 through 21. Major arcana and all the suits, from the lowest to the highest, and put them in, and then you sage them, smudge them, wipe them with silk cloth, wrap your cards in silk cloth, because silk naturally will cleanse the negative vibrations and prevent other outside vibrations from coming in and messing with your deck. And then you slap the deck 3 times. Doesn't have to be super hard, but hard enough that you're going to knock out any energy. Just boom, boom, boom. Knock out any negative energy that may be still stray energy in your cards. If you want extra protection, you can draw a circle around yourself. You could put a circle of salt Again, sea salt or just normal salt is fine. Just put in a big circle around yourself and sit inside it. Make a circle of crystals or pebbles or whatever you want. Salt is the best. It is the most powerful because it is a crystal and deflects negativity. I mean, you can make a sitting room. If you have a room to read tarot, you can take black obsidian arrowheads, especially if you're Native American, and you can charm it. You can do a little bit of a spell, ask God to bless you, and put a circle above your head with arrowheads. And what happens with that is it will deflect anyone and everyone from coming near you that has ill intentions or negative energy even. I mean, it might be someone with good intentions usually, but they're in a bad mood. They won't be able to go in the room. They won't be able to stand the energy. It's super high vibration. And I bought a bunch of arrowheads. I never even put them up in Detroit. I bought a bag of 50 arrowheads I was going to put in front of my door so that no one could even cross into the threshold of my home without those obsidian arrowheads affecting them. And if they're negative, they'll have to leave. They'll get a headache. And if they're positive, they get to stay as long as they want. I mean, there's a lot of secrets and tricks to that. But, I mean, you could put above your head a giant ring of obsidian arrowheads. You know, if that's not your style, that's cool. You could put a giant ring around your room with crystals, or you could just grid your room. Put one in each corner, you know. If you want to start a business in which you're reading online or over the phone, I highly recommend having a dedicated section of your apartment or house only for this. And always keep the vibrations very, very high. Don't sit and do your bills at that desk. If it's a desk, don't do other stuff. Don't watch TV on that desk. Don't eat a popsicle at that desk. Only for meditating and reading. In fact, have a meditation area separate from your tarot area. But it could be like next to it, you know. It's just better. Overall, it is a lot better to have your one little section. Because the other thing is, not just because you want to keep the vibration up and alive with the tarot energy, you want to keep the space clear. You don't want to have a fight with your wife, about bills at that desk. That's negative, angsty energy, and that could be reflected in your reading, especially if you're reading for clients. So what you want to do is keep it all separate. But this is a good thing. When you have a reading come up and you go to that space where you're doing the reading, you're going to instantly transform with the energy of that corner of your house or that room in your home. It's like you get in the correct mindset, you get the positive vibration up. If you have your quartz crystals or your organite or whatever it is that you have that is increasing you when you're there in that section, that's good. I mean, grid your whole house, make your whole house a positive zone only, obviously. But your tarot part, do you guys hear that? I have no idea what the hell that is. It sounds like there's I have no idea what that is. I'm gonna look outside. We're being interrupted, so we're gonna go look. It sounds like there's a water truck cleaning the streets, which I've never seen in Ecuador. So, no, it's just like, oh, it's so weird. It's a street sweeper. Do you hear that sound? It's like a shh. It's like, I'm on the third floor with my window shut. See if we turn it on. Here's your ASMR. I've never seen this in my life. It's like a circular broom that's spinning around and around, and this truck is going down the street, sweeping the street. That is so weird. At least they don't use water trucks. In Peru, in Lima, Peru, at night, they go down the street once a week with these huge water trucks, and they waste hundreds of thousands of gallons of water every single day. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, so that's basically, getting back to this, that's how you set your cards up to be ready to read, set your area up where you're going to read, because it's all very important. It's all so important. Okay. Now my window is closed and I've got my blanket on. It is cold here. It's like 48, 49 degrees, like almost every night now. I shouldn't complain, though. I mean, I've lived in the snow, so it's nothing compared to that, and most of you are sitting there in the heat. I mean, I know, I look at my numbers of who's listening to me from where, and I know like 75% of you are like in summertime, probably 85 right now. All right. All right, so you could charge different amounts of money. When you're starting off, you could say, you'll do the first 100 readings for like hardly anything, like $10 or something, or $5 for, or even free, just if you're going to get testimonials, and then you get the testimonials built up. There's different places to read tarot cards where you want to. If you want to do it in person, I recommend just going to a coffee shop or a bar, especially if it's like a bar restaurant, and you could just sit there and put up a little tiny card saying tarot readings $25 or tarot readings $50, whatever you want to charge. If you're brand new at it and you have to keep looking stuff up, charge $5 or $10 only. So it just kind of covers your time, or say for the price of a coffee and a meal, I'll do your tarot. And don't eat at the same table you do your tarot, though. You just don't want your cards gunky, right? But you can, in a lot of places, they'll just let you do it because it's fun, it's interesting, it brings in business. Sometimes you could have an owner of a store, like whether it's a new age store or a bookstore or, something, like a crystal shop. Maybe they'll have, a little table you can bring in. You can bring your own in and sit and just read tarot for people. That's how you could do it, just like in person. You could go to even like a McDonald's which yuck, I don't like McDonald's. I hate their energy. So sorry I said that, but just something like that, find a diner or a little cafe where people are going in and out. And once they get to know that you're there, then that's the fun. That's when the fun starts. You could also do this in a park, just make sure that you've got, someone with you or a backup. You don't want to get jumped in the park. Have your tarot money, maybe after you've made a couple readings and you leave the park for like until tomorrow, or, go put your money somewhere else. Just be careful and safe. But you could also find there's still hotlines that people call in, and also on the internet. So through the phone lines, through, I used to do a psychic hotline. I've been doing this for decades. I was reading cards and doing psychic readings over the phone in 1996. Actually, yeah, so however long that is. 25 years ago. I mean, I've been doing it for a lot longer. I've been reading cards for over 30 years, but oh God, longer than that. Unbelievable. 34 years maybe. But about 25 years ago, I started to do this through a hotline. And I got so good, before I even opened up the deck, I would ask the person one or two questions, and the way they said their name, I already knew. Usually by the time they finished saying their first name, I knew why they were calling, what their general mood was. I mean, my psychic ability was like super right on, but it took years to develop it. So we're going to do a quick fix, which I just learned. I've been teaching you guys for weeks. You touch your third eye with any finger, and with concentration, you focus on that third eye, and this is what you say. Ki, ah, sha. Ki, ah, sha. Ki, ah, sha. I don't know if you noticed, but the energy shifted in my room when I did that. Also, now my third eye is pulsating. You're going to want to, if you want to get into the really, really psychic parts of reading, what I do is I do that now because I know this one. Before I didn't do it because I didn't know. I just learned this one about 2 months ago. It's incredible to open your third eye. But I would do a meditation, take out all the negative energies from your emotional body, your physical and mental bodies. Sage yourself with sage, or incense. Spray yourself with holy water. Ask your higher guidance to be with you and help you. Ask your holy guardian angel to protect you while you read. Ask your angels, your spiritual career team. And if you don't know what that is, go back through my episodes. I do have your spiritual career team, how to build it episode. So what you do is you get yourself in the right mindset. You get yourself protected. You're surrounded by spirits, whether it's your higher, have to be connected to your higher self, and you should be connected to God. And you don't have to do all this, but this is what I do. All right. So I make sure I connected to everybody. I'm surrounded by white light. I have drained all the negativity from my body. I have done the visualizations. I've raised my Kundalini to my 8th chakra. I've done everything, right? If your Kundalini isn't raised yet, don't force it. Don't worry about it. It will happen in time. And I did a show on Kundalini as well, so you can look that up too. So let's see. Once you're sitting with the person, whether it's on the phone, over the internet, or in person, I like to read people. I'd like to read cards for people when they're not on the phone with me, they're not connected to me in any way. I could concentrate with them more. I use telepathy with their spiritual team and with their higher self. I get the information directly from their guidance. But again, this has taken me 34, 35 years to get to this point. I've been working on this for a long, long time. You'll get there. If you're not there yet and you're just starting out, don't worry about it. You're going to get there. Okay, so there's a couple different things that you can do. The first thing is they might want to know the answer to a yes or no question. You have to shuffle the cards in a way that some will be turned upright and some will be turned downward. And that's how you answer a yes or a no question. So you shuffle, get it all together, and you separate. If the person's in front of you, this is what you do. You separate the deck into 3 stacks that are pretty even. And you tell them in order of what should be on top, and then the next section, then the next section. Tell me 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 2, 31. What order should these stacks go? And they tell you, and you put the stacks together in that way, and then you flip the cards over one at a time, and you do 3 cards. If you get 2 cards that are facing upright, or 3, the answer is yes. If you get 2 cards facing down or upside down, then the answer is no. If you get 2 or 3, it's no. If you get 2 cards that are a yes and 1 that's a no, the answer is yes, but. And if you get 2 that are no and 1 that's a yes, no, but. And that 3rd card can reverse the yes to a no or the no to a yes, depending on what that card is. So say you got, say someone asks you, all right, I want to join the police academy. Say that's their thing. And I put my and I put my application in, am I going to be able to be the detective I've always wanted to be? And you get the 2 yeses and a no, but if the no is a devil card, it's going to be yes, but someone is going to come to you smoking weed. If you stay around them, it's going to get in your system and you're not going to pass the P test. That would be how I interpret that. Because the devil card means drugs, alcohol. You could get in trouble, if you're trying to go for a job like that, and say you go to a concert and you breathe in smoke, even if you didn't smoke yourself, that would cost you your job. So, or, before you even get it. So that would be how I'd interpret a situation like that. Or what if you get 2 no's and then the yes, and then it's 2 no's and then the yes is lovers. So is my boyfriend cheating on me? And I would say no. Oh, but unless you are interacting on a sexual level with him, he might be tempted to go elsewhere. Or I would interpret, say the third card, this upright as a lovers, might be yes, but maybe someone's coming to tempt you, somebody new is coming in, So it just depends on what the third card is, or what one of the cards are. So it doesn't have to be the third card. Any of the cards in any order. If you get 2 upright or more, it's yes. 2 downward or no. Or 3, it's no. Now, what if, and that could be also considered a maybe, Those also might be maybes. If you get 3 uprights, obviously yes, yes, yes. Or the opposite, no, no, no. But that's how you answer a yes or no question. And I always shuffle it normal, like you do a normal deck of cards for a yes or no question. Or you could shuffle it in a way that I do, where I ask the angel to pick it out of the deck. I invite one of the archangels to be with me and to pick from the deck the card that is the most accurate answer for the person I'm questioning about. And when you're picking cards, you can't be thinking about your laundry or the fight you had with your cousin last week. You can't be thinking about what you're about to make for dinner. You can't be watching a 3-year-old at the same time, You have to be fully concentrated on the task at hand and keep your mind from all of your other stuff blank, right? So just put it aside, cast that to the side. You are here with the question. You're here with the questioner, nothing else. So if they ask a question that is not yes or no, and it's an open-ended question, then you could shuffle it like normal, have them, pick from the deck like before, or ask the angel of your choice. I've been working with Gabriel, who is a direct voice of God. He comes and he can talk to you in a way that, whatever God wants you to know, right? Archangel Uriel also, he's all of them, any of them. If the person is asking about their health, you can ask Archangel Raphael to, because she, Raphael, is a very gender ambivalent angel. Most angels actually are, because they're not human. But so basically, how you do that is you hold the whole deck in one hand, and you take the other, take your other hand and you grab the back of the deck and you slowly let the cards go in the front. Then take the second half and put that in the front, and you just let the cards cascade down like a waterfall into your hand, right? And as you're doing this, you're asking for one card to be taken out. So if 10 cards fall out, that's not your answer. If 1 or 2 cards fall out, you can ask using muscle testing, is this one the card? Is this one the card? Otherwise, you just keep going and you ask the angel to take out the card that is most accurate for the question you're asking. So the question wasn't yes or no, would I get that job? What, is my boyfriend cheating on me? That's not the question. The question is, what will happen if I live in that neighborhood? What will happen to me in the next year if I live in that neighborhood? And then you pull out a card and it says lovers. Oh, wow, I'm going to get into a relationship. I'm going to have a lovely relationship. Or Two of Cups. All that means, yeah, two means a couple, and love, cups is representing love. So, wow, if I move into that neighborhood, looks like I might get a relationship. That's cool. Am I ready for a relationship? Should I move or not? Those are the questions that your person has to answer. But say you're going through that, and then you get like a death card. Well, I don't know. That can mean death, actually. That can mean, it can mean death directly, or it can mean, you're going to die, or someone in your family is going to die as a result of living in that hood with you. Or possibly it might mean that you're going to go through a life-changing transformation. Where'd I get that? That was weird. All right, so apparently God is sending you guys a message through my words right now. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So, I don't know, maybe you're going to get some upgrades and light codes while I'm talking. Woo, baby. That's pretty awesome. All right. That was a weird interruption. Sometimes, I'll say a word, so random, but it means something, so that's why I had to ask. I'm, doing muscle testing while I'm talking to you guys, and it's yeah, okay. Love that multitasking thing. All right, so, if you get a positive card, then maybe that's a good neighborhood. You get a negative card, if you get a tower, I'd be like, oh, hell no, I'm staying the hell away from that. I'm not going near the tower. If that house is going to be like a tower, might end up being a money pit. You might end up spending money on the plumbing and then the electric, and then maybe you get shot up by a gang member. You don't know. You just you never know. Or maybe you're in a gated community and it's wonderful, but the street floods and that house is going to flood and everything will fall down. Or maybe the negativity is in the address. If it adds up to 13, that's a negative address. That's a very bad address. If you live in a house, I want you guys to do this. If you don't believe me, I want you to go on to realestate.com, okay, or realtor.com, realtor.com. It's they have real estate for sale all over the world on realtor.com. I love that website. I'm a real estate nerd, so I'm always constantly looking at houses. For a time, I had everything memorized in Ecuador. And for a time, I had everything memorized in Oakland and Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, all the places I'm interested in someday living, San Francisco. And for a while, I had everything on in Detroit memorized when I wanted to go buy my house there. But I'm a total real estate nerd. I mean, seriously, this is my porn is real estate. I'm really boring. Ooh, look at that house. The porn part comes in I could do it in that room. I could do it in that room. Ooh, look at that piece of furniture. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right. We'll go back to keeping this clean. All right. But, if you guys look at a whole bunch of houses from an area, and look at the ones with the overgrown yard and the low-level lighting and the negative, weird energy in some of the houses, and go and find the street address. Usually, numerologically, it adds up to 4 or to 13. And you'll see it every freaking time. And if you go back 2 weeks later and that sad old house is still there and all the houses have turned over, especially in Oakland, people are buying and selling houses in Oakland just like that. I mean, a house comes on the market at a decent rate, say in Oakland, $500,000 is decent. It's really expensive there. But if you see a house for $500,000 in Oakland, by the afternoon, that house is already sold for $750,000. People bid over the price in which a house is listed in Southern and in Northern California. It is the damnedest thing. But you'll see that there's a whole bunch of houses turned over. The ones that add up to 4 and 13 never sell. You can never get rid of a house with that negative energy. And if you live in a house in which your house is adding up to 13 or 4, and I mean the street address. not the zip code or whatever, just the house address. That's the energy for the house. You can fix it by taping or nailing a metal number to the back of your front door, or putting it inside and underneath your mailbox or inside your mailbox. You put the number to what numerologically you want your house to be. So say you want a balanced house that adds up to 4, you go buy metal number 1 for like $1, and you tape it with duct tape to the bottom of your mailbox, and that will shift your whole house energy. Weird, right? Okay, has nothing to do with tarot, so we're getting back into the tarot thing. All right, so that's how you basically, though, when you ask an open-ended question and you get 3 cards, you can interpret them as the first card is the past, the second card is the present, and the third card is your future relating to the thing. So, what will happen if I buy that card? And you get the past, present, and future card. Okay, well, in the past, maybe that'll be the past of the car or the past of you. Or it could just be 3 different questions. You have to say the questions out loud before you draw the cards. So I'm going to ask about, I have a job opportunity in San Francisco where I live, and I have a job opportunity in New York City, in Manhattan, no less. So the question is, or I could stay in the job I currently have, which I love, but doesn't pay very much. So say that's what they're saying, and they're like, I don't know what to do. All right, well, this is what we're going to do. The first card I draw that is pulled out by the angel, all right? This is an angel-related one that I would do in this way. The first card I draw is going to be, what happens in your life in the next year if you stay in your current job? Boom, 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 boom. The angel pulls it out. There's your card. You read that card. This is what's going to happen at that. And then the third, and the second question is, if you take the high-paying job here in San Francisco, here's that card. Boom, 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 boom. And here's if you take Manhattan. So what if you pulled it out, and you get the stagnation sword card where people are kind of, I think it's like the 7 of Swords, is it? Maybe that it's kind of, no, it's not the 7. I don't remember which one right off the top of my head. There's one, I think it might be the 8 of Swords, where like you're surrounded by swords and you can't get out, and you're in a prison of your own making. That would be something I would imagine be a dead-end, stuck job. You love the people, but everything else is like you're never going anywhere with it. That would be like the card I would imagine in a situation like that. Anyway, but that's how you do it. I mean, you just go, okay, well, this card means this, and then you pull it out. This card means that, and then that card means that. And I consider, for me at least, when I say I read one question for like $12, that's 3 cards. I'm literally interpreting 3 cards, and I'm interpreting how the cards relate to each other. So say, for example, someone comes along and they ask you a question about money and career, my work, my job, my career, my business, my money, and that's all they want to talk about. And then you do a whole Celtic cross spread, which is 10 cards, and not one frickin' pentacle in 10 cards. That would be really weird. What that is, say there's a bunch of cups instead of pentacles, then you're like, oh, you're coming to me asking about your career, but what you're really interested in is your love life, and you're afraid to ask. Is that true? And you could ask the person, is that true? Otherwise, cleanse your cards again and start over. But like if the person asks about love and everything is pentacles, it's like, why are you so focused on your business or your job or your money when you're here about love? You're not going to have love in your life if you don't allow the love in. You have to open your heart and your mind, because like I'm looking at this and there's not one cup. Cups mean, not even the lover's card. Like look at this. You're asking me about your love life, but you're telling me with these cards, with your energy, that's affected the cards, your higher self that pulled these out through the angel, you don't have a love life. You have no room in your heart for it. So sometimes reading cards involves that exact thing where you're counseling the person on other things, on other topics, and on opening themselves up to something. So you have to know about the law of attraction. In time, you're going to learn everything that you need to know. But if you're just starting off, you might be a little bit nervous and you might want to keep a little cheat sheet. You could go to biddytarot.com, BIDDYTAROT.com. By the way, they do have a Celtic Cross tarot spread, like a little cutout. And then they have other, let's see, they had another one I thought was cool. Anyway, they've got some cutouts that you could just like print up, cut out, and it'd be like a little cheat sheet to take with you in the event that something stumps you, and bring your little tarot book and have a little tarot app on your phone in case something stumps you and you're kind of reading it one way and you think like your interpretation has nothing to do with the card. Usually your intuition is correct over what the card says. And usually your first impression, that's true. Usually when you second and third and fourth guess yourself is when you're like not going to be as accurate. If you cannot read someone and they come at you with an attitude like, I bet you can't read me, I've learned from experience you can't. They put up a wall, they put up a front, they don't want to be read. And you go, oh yeah, I definitely want to be read. And have like their arms and legs crossed. It's like they're just like a skeptic and they're going to say no to everything even if you're right on. Or they're challenging you because they feel like they want to fight that day. A lot of people will come to tarot with that. Not a lot, but like 10 to 15% of the people will come with negative, and if you can't read them, if they pay you and you start to read them and you can't, and they're closed off, you can say, I'm not going to take your money today. Here you go. Here's your money back. I can't read you. You're blocking all the energy. That does happen. You have the right to refuse to read anybody. If you don't like their energy or negativity, you don't have to read people. Not everyone, So, just so you know. Now, the next thing I'm going to go over real quick is how to read and interpret the Celtic Cross and what you need to look for. Okay, so the first card you lay down to lay out a Celtic Cross, that is the present. It's your questioner's state of mind, what their present situation is, what it has to do with them right now as they sit in front of you or as you read them right this moment, whether they're in front of you or not. So that's the present. That's what's happening, and that's their state of mind. That's also how they're perceiving the current situation. So like if it's a Tower card, they're perceiving that all hell's breaking loose and they don't know where to turn. That might be a state of mind. Might be actually happening or just what they're feeling. Now the card that you lay down second, so the first one's normal, goes right in front of you. You can use reversals. Reversals are the opposite of what the cards mean. So if a card comes up reversed, then you can read it as a reversal. I always say I don't want to do reversals. I never do reversals, and I've never done reversals because it could get really confusing. So I just read the card as it is, and then I interpret it in conjunction with what their higher self is telling me, what their spiritual guide is telling me, how my spiritual guide is conversating with their spiritual guide, and also what divine tells me, as well as the energy I'm getting from them directly. That's how I interpret it. So the challenge card is the second card you lay down. So you put it, and you don't just lay down one card and interpret it. You got to lay the whole spread down first. So the first card you put is the present situation. The second card you put down, you put sideways across, like an actual cross, over the first card, which is the present. The second one is your obstacle or your challenge. You might want to call it even an opportunity, something that is keeping you from getting out of the situation you're in right now. Or maybe, it's not always a problem or a challenge. Sometimes it's a little bit of an obstacle, like, oh, wow, from this card, I could see that you're, whatever. Maybe you want to go get this job, but you don't have a car, So, like, you get, like, a reversal on the Chariot. Okay, you can't get there. You don't have a way to drive there. Like, a reversal of the Chariot would mean, obviously, the opposite. So, if you do reversals, that would be an example. But the challenge card, so, like, if you get, like a death card, it might mean that someone's going to die near you and you're not going to be able to do what you need to do. Because you got to take care of the death. That's a temporary setback. So a lot of times a challenge card is like a temporary setback. Usually it's a person's own emotions. It's their own lack of belief or their emotions. Basically, it's just what will make your life easier if this problem is resolved. Maybe it means money. You got to go out and get a job in order to buy into the business that you want to get. It's like a temporary setback. It's like, now you got to go, maybe, go do that temporary job. Go work for the temporary agency. And I see in 6 weeks' time, probably, boom, you'll have enough money to pay your bills and buy into that business with this temporary job. There you go. So that might be an example of a challenge, right? Now, the past card, or actually the next card you set up, I'm looking at this and this woman has it set up opposite of what I'm looking at. So let me look at the actual Celtic cross. Okay, so you have the first card straight up and down, the second card straight across on top of the first card. The third card you're going to lay down is directly below those first two cards. And it's an upright card again, and that card is the below card. It's like what's below the surface. What does the person have in their subconscious mind? It will help delve deeper into the core foundation of the situation. So if the situation is really good and their foundation is really good, then they've got a great platform from which to spring. Or if both of those cards are negative, they've got some negative emotions they need to take care of before they can go forward. So it just depends on the reading and on the cards, obviously. But this symbolizes your underlying feelings, your underlying trust or mistrust of the situation. What your foundation is based on is the card that goes below the first two cards. Now, the next card you lay out is upright again to the left of the two central cards that, the ones that are on top of each other. So the one that's to the left is the past. That is your past influence. That's events that led you up to the present moment. And it will show you what you've already resolved, what you've already been through, what was your immediate past. It's like in the past 7 days to 30 days, what has happened. The next card you lay out is the above card that goes above the two that are sitting on top of each other. Okay? And if you look at the way that the pattern is of the Celtic cross spread, it's like the two in the middle, and then below, and then to the left, then the top, then the right, and then down, and then straight up. So it's almost like an infinity symbol, but except the second half of it goes straight up instead of back in to itself. You'll see when you lay these out. Okay, so you've got your first two cards, your bottom card, which is the below card, your past card, which is to the left, your above card is to the top. And above means that is your goal. That is your person's goal. That's what they want to do. They're aspiring to this thing. Your above card is what your higher self is helping you with and what's in your conscious mind or your superconscious mind. Whereas the below card is your subconscious mind, things you're not totally aware of, but that's your foundation. And the top card is where you're headed. And you got to look, I'll tell you in a moment, how these all relate to each other as well as just what the card itself says. So this is kind of your next step or what you're going to do as you're going along with whatever you're questioning about now. Usually when I do a Celtic cross for myself, by the way, I say, what is my general life right now? I want to have a kind of picture frozen in time about what's going on right now. Shows me what's below me, what's in the past, what's coming, in the next day or two. Could be the above card if it feels like a prediction to you. Otherwise, don't mention it as a prediction. But that top card, that is your alignment with your higher self, what is possible. And then the next card is the future card. It's the one that goes right to the right of the two sitting on top of each other. So now you have two cards. You've got your first and second card. You have one below, one to the left, one to the top, and now one to the right. The one to the right is the future. That's in the next 7 days, usually 7 to 10 days. Sometimes it might be a little bit longer than 7 days. Sometimes it might be 2 or 3 days, next 48 to 72 hours maybe. It just depends. I don't give any there's no hard fast rule about how much time. And I don't tell people in the next 48 hours it's going to happen, because then they could come back to you 72 hours later going, well, it took 60 hours, so I want my money back. So you don't ever give a concrete, future, definitely, because you don't know. And things are fluid, and plus a person can change their mind and they're not going to get it anyway. Because sometimes we all have free will here on earth. We could do whatever we want. We could pick whatever we want. So, if they're questioning about a business they want to jump into, and you see in the next 7 days, they're going to make a lot of money if they start in the next 7 days, and then they change their mind, then that's what they did, Today they want to do it, and then in 3 days, no, they changed their mind. It's not your fault, obviously. It's their own life. They pick their own world. I had a woman who I saw I had a complete psychic vision while doing the tarot of her being happy and missing, like putting her key in the wrong truck that looked identical to hers, meeting the owner, falling madly, deeply, passionately in love with them, and what he does for a living, what a sweet person he was. And you know what? A week later, she did that exact thing. She put her keys in the truck, was about to get into a stranger's truck, and then realized it wasn't her truck, looked around the parking lot, found her truck, the guy walked out, and they met. And instead of being open to the love that I said she was going to get, she said, oh, well, this is some kind of BS. I'm sorry, I tried to open your truck. Oh, man, look, our trucks look the same. She got into her truck, and she took off running. Never looked back. She's like, oh, F that. I didn't want to have a relationship. I'm like, well, was he at least good looking? I saw him. He was good looking, right? And she's like, oh, yeah, he was gorgeous. Well, then why didn't you want... Oh, I just didn't. I decided I wanted to be alone. I'm like, all right. Nothing you can do about that. People want to be alone. That's what you got. You got people that decide not to take the job they're asking about. They can't blame you. You were just the messenger. And don't blame yourself either. Oh, darn, why didn't that work out? And sometimes knowing the future isn't all that great, because... if she didn't know what was going to happen, she might have fallen into like, oh, hey, and maybe kind of playing with her hair so she looks cute, so he could ask her out, so they would have love ever after. But since she knew what was going to happen, she was on her guard. So you got to be careful too. I think I might have messed her life up in a way, because I knew what was going to happen. I told her, and she's like, it's exactly what you said. Like, unbelievably weird that it happened the way you said, but I decided at the last minute, I don't want that. They're like, well, there's going to be another meeting, if that's a true love meant to be, it's going to happen. So you have the ability to find this guy again. It was a really small town, so it's definitely possible. I saw him on a different day, and I didn't even know the guy before I saw him in my vision, but... This starts to happen. The more you use your third eye, the more you use tarot cards, the more the psychic intuition and the abilities, because everybody has this, not just a few of us. We all have this. You have this. Guaranteed you've got this. Whether you're a hereditary witch or not, you've got this. All right. So anyway, the future card is the next few weeks or even months sometimes. I always say 7 days, but it could be up to months. It's not the final outcome, but it's the next thing that will happen on the way to the final outcome. All right. So now finally we get to card 7. So now what you have is 2 cards and 4 cards around the 2 cards in a circle. And then you go down to the bottom to the right hand side, and you're going to put 4 cards in a row, but you start with the bottom and then the next card, and the next card on top of that. So you're going to have 4 cards to the right. So card 7, which is the first one in the bottom. The card 7 is it's how you see yourself. How you're interpreting yourself in the situation. Not just interpreting or perceiving the situation, but you in that. So that's you in that situation, how you see yourself. Also, it's everything that's happening in your life, and it's also could be a suggestion for what you need to do for the situation or in general. Like, might mean you've got to take care of yourself better with food, nutrition, vitamins, minerals, whatever. Might mean, just something about your general state of well-being right now. It also will be a recommendation for how to take on your current challenges if the rest of the reading is particularly challenging. The next card is how other people are seeing you in the situation. You might feel like you are a damn mess, but then the next card shows up and looks like you've got your crap together from everyone else's outside perspective. That is how other people see you. Also, this is how other people are affecting you. So if you are a very positive person, but they're affecting you negatively, then your first card might be good, but your second card might be kind of a negative card, because it's like, all right, this is your external influences as well. This is the events and energies and people, things that you cannot control, but things that might affect your personal outcome. You don't live in a vacuum. You do live with other people around you, and other people do have control over their part in things. So you got to see where other people are at in your situation, which goes back to the very first card you laid down, and also how they interpret it, how they interpret you in the situation, how they see you and perceive you. And also, so say you're trying to get a real estate career going, and it says that other people are perceiving you as poor. Oh no. You can't have that, because then they're not going to hire you. You have to put on your best show. Unfortunately, that's the case with things like real estate. If you're going to sell real estate for a company, you have to have a nice car, nice shoes, nice clothes. So for the example, in this, so say you see yourself really good in the situation. You could do the job, and that's what you're doing. You want to do it. But then the second card is like, other people see you as poor, and it'll like show like a pentacle one where the person's like crying and poor looking, So for example, that could be something that happens. It's like, oh, all right, well, that means I need to step up my wardrobe, show up again with my hair done, get my hair did, get my nails did. You know what I mean? You got to get everything done and look nice. If you're a man, you wear a nice suit and nice unscuffed shoes and cologne. You know what I mean? So that would be like an example of like your first and second, how like those two can vary if there's a disconnect between how other people are perceiving you and how you're perceiving yourself in the situation. And it also gives you clues as to how to improve the situation so that you can get the best possible outcome. So the next card up is your 3 to 6 months out. I say 3 months usually, up to 3 months. So you have a week, then you got 3 months, and then the next final card is your 6-month card. But also card 9 is your hopes and or fears card. So a lot of people have a hard time interpreting this, because it's like hopes, fears, it's 3 months out. It's like, what do we do? Oh my gosh. Like when I did for the collective the other day. Here, I'm going to quit for a moment, and I'm going to come right back because we're running out of time and I have another 10 minutes to go. I'll be right back. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. All right, I wasn't ready to stop this one yet. There's that 55-minute mark, so this next section will probably only be 20 minutes tops, probably less. Whoa, almost dropped my phone. Okay, card 9. So basically 7 is how you view yourself, 8 is how other people view you. Card 9, there's 10 in a Celtic cross spread. And card 9 is the hopes and fears, and also the next 3 months. So when I did a collective reading for the whole a few days ago, number 9, the 9th card was the tarot card. The tower card. All right, I'm losing the words there. Okay, tower card. So when you have the tower card in the 3-month position, it's like, is that a hope? Do we hope everything freaking falls apart? No, not at all. Is it a fear it's going to? Yeah. And it's in the next 3 months. Is it going to? Probably some more things are going to happen. I was reading for the actual Ascension, so I feel like in 3 months, 3 to 6 months, things are going to start, some things are going to start to fall apart. Like earthquakes. Maybe riots. And look, I did say that, and here we're having shootings, right? That happened 2 or 3 times. I think that I might have done the reading after that, though. But it might, so you can interpret the tower in that situation as like maybe some things are going to fall apart, or maybe we're afraid it is. We're probably afraid we're going to have a lot more earthquakes, a lot more fires, a lot more shootings. But maybe we're hoping that all the negative stuff falls away as well. That's another way to interpret that card. We're hoping that everything is just going to finally be done with. I finally won't need that job anymore. That's going to fall away from me. I'm finally going to, sell the house, and that whole nonsense of selling the house in a neighborhood I didn't like, that will be behind me. Or, the divorce will be finalized. The lawsuit will be over. That will be falling away from me. I might have to pay some money, but at least it will be done with. So that's how I would interpret, if you get the tower card in that position, in position 9. But it's how your hopes and your fears are entwined with each other. There are ways that everything kind of matches everything in a tarot reading. It's not just, there's 10 cards and there's 10 different explanations, and they don't connect to each other. They all connect to each other. So sometimes if you want another hope or fear clarification on the card, you could always draw another card just to answer that question. Especially if it's a tower, it's like, is it my fear, or is it what's actually going to happen? You got to be really good at reading the other person, and you could give them all possible explanations, and they could pick their choice. And then in 3 months, they're going to see which one it was anyway. If they keep going the way they're going, and they didn't do anything to fix or change it, or promote the outcome even in a higher, better light than it was going to be already, sometimes the person can't affect it. So maybe the tower is in 3 months, but, oh, look, they managed to do a couple things. They turned it around. They took the job in Manhattan, and now they're paid 3 times as much. And, well, they didn't have the creditors come knocking at their door. All right. So that card didn't happen. There's a lot of different ways you could look at the hopes and fears card. But you could always draw a second card just to clarify if you're having a hard time interpreting it for the person. So it could be like your hope for 3 months, your fear for 3 months, your hope and fear for 3 months. Or just what's going to happen in 3 months without the hope fear thing. And hopefully you're going to have a good enough intuition or a gut instinct. And you could even put your hand under the table and do muscle testing to ask how to interpret that card in that moment. You ask their higher self, do I interpret this one as hope? No. Do I interpret it as fear? Oh, yeah. They have a lot more fears going on than a lot more than hopes. You can ask their higher self, their higher guidance, silently to yourself, and then get the muscle testing answer. Then you're going to know how to interpret the card better. All right, now the outcome card. The outcome card is the final card of the whole reading. This is the top. It's the fourth card from the bottom to the right. So this is the top. And if you've laid it out right, it's going to be slightly higher than the above card in the original section of the reading. And the above card is usually related to this card, right? So the 10th card is the final outcome. This is where everything is headed if you don't do anything about it to change or improve it, and you're going on in the same way, in the same path. That's the best you can hope for. Usually it's what's going to happen in 6 months to a year. Depending, again, it could be 6 months, it could be 7 months, it could be 6 months and 1 day, or it could be 18 months, it could be a year, it could be 9 months. Minimum, this is what you can hope for 6 months from now. The outcome card. It's how the issue or problem will be resolved if the question was about a problem or issue. It's the direction your life is headed if it's a general life reading. It's if you continue on the same course of action you've always been doing, that's where you're headed in 6 months to a year. And if it's not a desirable outcome, you always have free will. Your client always has free will to change everything. You could even interpret that outcome card. Well, what can we do to change it? And you could draw another card for them. You could do 12 cards, just to ask, and then they might have questions. Well, I don't like that outcome. What can I do to change it? Boom. Past, present, future. Or can I change it? Yes or no. Do the yes or no question. Do 3 cards. Interpret it yes or no. Or maybe. You get 3 upright cards, it's yes. 3 downward cards, it's no. But you might get a maybe. It's a yes, but. It's a no, but. Now, there's different ways to interpret the Celtic Cross. There's different ways to lay it out. I gave you guys what I was taught from the very beginning from Lily Francis. She changed her last name to Francis. And when she did that, she started to levitate, which was something that St. Francis of Assisi is known for. And she was extremely powerful and extremely psychic and very, very in tune with the universe. She taught English literature. She was a tenured teacher at the University of North Dakota when I went there in Grand Forks. And she used to sit in a bar every single Friday, and she would just sit and meditate, and she lit her incense, and she did her readings of people all night long, and people came to expect her there. So not only was she a tenured teacher, she read tarot for fun. And she would just say, $5 or $10. I think it was like a $5 or $10 donation, because she's already had her money. She didn't care about that. She had her investments and whatnot from her tenured salary. But, it was nice. She'd get $5 or $10. I think I gave her $12 every time I go see her. But she was part of my spiritual group as well. And she is the one that taught me how to read the tarot. In fact, I got my first reading. She told me what everything was going to be. She told me I was going to be working in an office. I didn't believe her. 6 months later, I was working in an office. Like, well, what if I don't want to do that? But she's like, well, what if you do? I'm like, never thought of it that way. What if I do? She was right. She was absolutely right. Couldn't believe it. I did nothing to change the outcome either. I just went to a temporary agency, and soon I was working in offices. That's what I did. Wasn't my, the first jobs I'd gotten, but I ended up being very happy working as a temp in offices after a while. It took me a while to get there, but she was right. I can't believe it. All right. Oh, my allergies are starting to kick in. This is the time of year in which suddenly, I don't know, something's blooming. This happened to me last year too. My eyes got so itchy, I couldn't stop itching them. Now I have to put Visine in my eyes because of it. And now I'm like starting to blow my nose pretty often in the evenings. So, all right. So I'm looking at this. If there's anything else. Yeah, I mean, you always have free will. Now, I wanted you guys to figure out some things. Now, after you've pulled out all the cards and you've interpreted all the cards, then you have to go through the second pass to interpret the cards. So then you can even have a notebook to the side and you write down in your notebook for the person. You could write down the whole reading for them. They could take it with them and do their own research on the reading. So you count how many major arcana cards are there. The ones without the numbers, without the suits, without the cups, pentacles, swords, and wands, okay? The ones that don't have those things. And you write down all the major arcanas, and you could see how they relate to each other. If it's like the Emperor and the Empress, then that might be it, whether the person is gay or not, or regardless of gender. We're not going to do this, in a binary way. It could be non-binary. It doesn't matter. There's usually a male and female energy. So if you have like the Emperor and the Empress in the story of the tarot cards, they're married. So, it might be the person's husband or wife, or it could be a situation where that's coming. So say you have a woman who is cisgender, right? So you have a woman who is married or not married, but wants to be, and say she's been in a relationship for a long time. She comes to talk to you about love. Say the above card is the Empress, and then the outcome card is the Emperor. Oh, it looks like in 6 months, you're going to get asked to be married. 6 months to a year. You will find your king, and he will be seen on his throne while you are the queen sitting on your throne. That's how I would interpret that. So if you have like the Emperor and the Empress, but say you have a woman and she comes in to talk to you, and you get an Empress card, and she's also, and you've got the High Priestess card. So if she is married, I would interpret it that as, well, there's a possibility she's not interested in being married anymore. She's wanting to lean back towards her virginal days. The High Priestess is a virgin, right? So, and she's pure. So maybe she's not having a good sex life. That might be one interpretation. Another one is she's focused only on her subconscious mind. She's focused in her own world. Maybe she's not being a good wife for her husband in another way. Or maybe she's single, and that's the one's like, oh, okay, you've gotten really into meditation, haven't you, lately? You're going towards a spiritual destiny, not a romantic or life destiny, Or if she is married and she gets only the Empress card, maybe she's pregnant. The Empress is pregnant. She's the mother of all creativity. So maybe this person is an artist and they're getting ready to have a gala opening, because she's got this creativity card coming up. Even if it's a man with the Empress card, his creativity is being unleashed. If a woman gets an Emperor card and she's not married and not interested in marriage, maybe she just became a boss. and she just started her own business, and she's going to be the king of her own domain, right? So there's different ways to interpret, depending on the situation of the person, And again, if you get the emperor and the empress, doesn't mean that they're a heterosexual couple. It could be, two people of the same gender in a couple. One might be more masculine and one might be more feminine, stereotypically, not of the person itself, but the typical masculine roles and typical feminine roles. Or it might not be that at all. It could just be the energy that the person or persons are putting forth, right? So you have to be very careful to say, well, your husband or your wife. I went to a woman who read my tarot once when I went with my best friend at the time, John. And John Sanders, God, I love him so much. I could say his name because there's like a million people with the same name. He was very, very, very gay. And we always talked about, well, what if there's a situation where you need to pretend to be straight? And he's like, well, in that case, you're definitely going to have to be my wife. And he's like, maybe we'll just get married anyway because we love each other so much. But then you could be with whoever and I could be with whoever. But, we already know the arrangement beforehand. But this woman read us that we're a married couple. And we were just kind of looking at each other and we started laughing. We're like, he's gay, very, very gay. And she's like, I don't see it. I see you guys are going to get married. And we're like, he's gay, very, very gay. Well, I've lost touch with him since graduation from CSUN in 1994. I haven't seen him since then. And I know they went to San Francisco and he's probably a famous artist over there by now. I don't know. Hopefully, because he was excellent. But we never got married, and her whole reading was based on her own personal assumptions that we were a heterosexual straight couple. And she wasn't interpreting like the fact that I was sitting there. I think I was wearing my military uniform, braless with a wife beater and dog tags, and I had my combat boots on, and she didn't even pay attention to that. She didn't even assume I was in the military, which I wasn't, but I looked like I might have been. And she didn't interpret the fact that he was wearing a pink shirt and he was wearing a lot of jewelry and he was acting very stereotypically feminine. Like he was very, very, very flamboyant and gay, obviously. But she didn't take anything that she saw in front of her at all. Like she didn't take. So when you have someone sitting in front of you and you can do a reading, there are clues as to who they are. Like she could have seen what I was wearing and asked if I was in the military, or she could have said, you're kind of like a rebel, right? Because I was. I was wearing stolen dog tags that I stole from my own father. He wasn't using them, not since Vietnam anyway. But he got out of the war right before he went over to the Vietnam War. He had been at stateside in the Navy. And then the war broke out and he was like, I think I'm getting out. And his next stop would have been Vietnam. And my birth father was in Vietnam. They actually won the Navy Cross, and he had gotten, everyone in his division had gotten a Purple Heart. And then the captain said, no, forget it, and refused to take any medals or awards for his team. So crazy stuff went on in that war. Anyway, but it's like this lady didn't read anything at all that she was saying. We weren't holding hands. We weren't kissing. We weren't all in love, but she kept saying that we were. It was like obvious we were friends and just hanging out. But I think my friend even had like a flower pinned to his shirt or a flower in his hair, because I think I'd found a flower on the ground. Well, here's a flower for you. And he put it in his hair. So he looked super, super flaming. And it was hilarious because we kept looking at each other and just laughing. We were also very high that day, I think. It was a Friday. I only got high on Fridays. So there's a huge fair, and here's this woman reading cards. So I didn't feel that she connected with us. I don't feel that she interpreted the cards correctly. Not even close. And she kept saying we're going to be together, and it was like, dude, no, we're not. We'll be friends forever. If I ever run into him tomorrow, we'll be best friends all over again. But I can't even find him on Facebook. There's like 1 million people with the same name. All right, so the next thing after you check out your major arcana, what happens is you have to look at the minor arcana. That's all the ones of the suits. And you got to write down, okay, so say there's 4 of the cards were swords, and then 2 of them were cups, and they came about romance. You have to interpret the number on the swords, but if they're mostly negative, then it means like she's fighting against love, or he's fighting against love, or he's in a relationship, but he keeps fighting with his man. You know what I mean? You got to kind of figure it out. Like, all right, there's something going on here beyond what the cards say, beyond what the position of the cards are. You know, so if you get a bunch of negative sword cards and a couple love cards, and especially the love cards are negative, oh, okay, so you just had a massive breakup. You know, you have to learn how to interpret it that way. Like, if the person gets a bunch of cups and they're not even there for romance, then it means that they're missing love, wanting love, or they've got a really good, strong, supportive love in their life. And that's what they're mostly thinking about when the cards are being drawn. It might not be negative. It might be super positive. It might be, oh my God, the love of your life is with you and helping you every step of the way with your career. Is that true? Especially if the cards are good. They're positive cards. You get the 2 of Cups above the person, or in the future. Maybe they're coming in the future. Maybe in the past, they're in the 3 position. Meaning, what has led you to all this? Was it your love that pushed you in the direction of this business? Sometimes you'll get like a past card would be the 2 of Cups, but if you keep getting cups throughout the whole reading, that can mean that it's love absolutely is involved one way or another. Or it's on their mind one way or the other. So you've got to interpret it. So if it's wands and wands are all over, it's like, oh, you got a lot of good ideas, right? You know, like, wow, I see this. You know, but if you came here and you're asking me about an idea and I don't see one single wand in the whole reading, it's like, I don't know, maybe you're not strongest in the ideas department. Maybe you should team up with somebody who has innovative ideas that they can pepper your business with, where you're going to be more successful. You know, so like that's how you kind of have to interpret it. Like you have to look at how all the cards relate. So you look at the past and the present influence. So the card 4 and card 6, right? So the one that's to the right and the left of the 2 center cards, those 2 relate to each other. What was in the past? What's in the future? How are they relating? How are things progressing and moving? Are things moving in a negative way? Are they moving in a positive way? Are they consistent across the way? Your past and your future are pretty consistent because you've been pretty consistent. You have to look at the above and the below card, the 3rd card and the 5th card. You have to look at, is your subconscious and conscious mind fighting with each other, or are they in alignment? Is your higher self and your current lower self, are they in alignment? So you also have to look at the second card, the challenge card, as well as card 8, the one how other people are perceiving you. Does that at all relate to the challenges you're getting? So you got to interpret the way that the challenges are going with the main present situation. Is it related to how people are viewing you? Is it related to how they're influencing you? Are the external influences the ones that are putting your temptations in your path that are blocking your opportunity? And you got to see how the above card relates to the future outcome, Is the future outcome in alignment with your true self, your higher self? Is this what's spiritually the best for you? And then you have to look at your future card, your 7-day card, and your 3rd and 6-month card and say, see if it's progressing in a natural line. Is it in a way that will behoove you to continue in this path, right? Behoove. Is that the second day in a row I've used behoove? I love that so much. That is a good word. So you have to just look at the cards that were played and where they're played and how it relates. You have to, so basically compare the above and the outcome card. Is it in alignment with your higher self? Compare the above and below card. Is there an alignment in that way? Are you in integrity in and of your own self? Are you in integrity and alignment with your own soul? The future and the outcomes cards. Is everything going to be influenced positively or not? Will the events lay out in a way in which you're going to get what you want? You got to look at the hopes and fears card and compare that to the below card. What's in your subconscious mind and what's your fear? How is that affecting your life right now? How is that helping you or hindering you from getting what you want? If what's in your below card is positive and what's in your hopes and fears card is positive, then what that means is your subconscious mind is in alignment with your hopes. And if you do interpret with reversed cards in those positions, it might be that you're not yet aware, the querent, the person who's asking the question, who came for the reading, might not be aware of their own subconscious desires or fears. They might not know what's driving them to do what they do. Most people don't. How is it working in the real world? How's that fear working out for you? Probably not helping. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Fears don't help. Or F everything and run. That's the other way to interpret fear. Flock everything and run. So, let's see. I said the advice and the outcome cards. Right? Let me see. That's the other things to look at. The advice and the outcome. So the advice is also your first card. So you hear how you feel about yourself. That card, this card 7 and the outcome card, is that in alignment? You know, so if how you're feeling about yourself, and then how the outcome card, say the outcome card's not very good, how are you perceiving yourself that's not going to give you a good future? You know, if you look at yourself negatively and then the outcome card is negative, okay, well, maybe the advice there is to change how you feel about yourself. Also look at your hopes, fears card, see if there's any fears there. Look in your below, what's in your subconscious mind. And it might be your past card could be affecting your outcome and the way you view yourself. What if you get 2 cards that are negative and they're swords, and that's how you view yourself, and that's your past? You're interpreting yourself based on what someone else did to you or what happened with somebody else that's not even there anymore. You know, so you could view it like that too. So you have to get, every card relates to every other card, and that's why most readings take an hour and a half sometimes. So, I mean, book people 2 hours apart, you know, just in case, because it takes a long time. Sometimes a person will ask 3 questions extra. I always charge extra for the extra questions, you know. But anyway, that's how I read. That's how I do a tarot reading in general. You know, that's, you can go to biddytarot.com though. I have no stake in this website. It's just a website that I absolutely love. BIDDYTAROT.com. You can actually get a certification in tarot if you want to go all the way. They even show you They have a course on how to grow your tarot business online. They have a video course 101 if you want a different interpretation. I've given you all the information you need to get started on this, but maybe you want someone else's advice or their opinions or ideas. I mean, and tarot can be interpreted in a million different ways sometimes, but certain cards mean certain things. And everyone agrees on those basic certain things. But, you know, you can make some good money doing this. I used to have an eBay business. After I worked on the psychic hotline, I did an eBay business where that's all I did. I just said, I'm going to give you a tarot reading. And then eBay changed it where you have to have something in the mail. All right, I'm going to mail you your tarot reading. And sometimes I would always send it with a gift. Like, here's 3 sticks of incense. Here's maybe, here's your handwritten note on what it meant. And you know, I would just give whatever. And then I'd like give like a little business card. Or for a while, I was handing out to people these cards that I made look like a checkbook. I made this on my computer and it looked like a checkbook, and it said, from the universe and the angels. And I think I got this out of a Doreen book, which I thought was amazing. Doreen Virtue. It's so weird. Like, she gave so much wonderful things to the world and then just went back on everything. I'm just like still questioning this. Like, I think she's a walk-in. I think she's like a Catholic conservative walk-in. Where she was just like herself before, now she's gone. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I used to have these checks, and I put them, and I had him dip it in rubber on the one side so you could like rip it off like a notebook. And I would carry it in my purse when people would talk negative about their lives, or even when they mention the law of attraction, say, oh, I got a gift for you. And I would pull it out. I go, this is my checkbook from the universe. I'm going to hand this check to you, and I want you to, and here's one for your wife, or here's one for your husband. And write how much money you'll have within 5 years, you know, or whatever. And I used to send that to people. So you could do something like that, something fun, or a coupon from the universe to you. Fill in the blank, and you'd have like 5 plus other choices, and the person fills it out. And they put it on their bathroom mirror, and they look at it every day. So it's like a gift that keeps on giving, even though it's super simple and super cheap. It costs you like 1 or 2 cents. You know, you can, I always like to give out, fun and sweet and surprising gifts that people don't expect. But I had this on my, eBay account. I did this for a lot of years, and people gave me fantastic 5-star reviews all the time. One lady, her grandmother came in the middle of a reading, and I was talking to her on the phone. I'm like, oh my God. So your grandma came, and she's worried you're going to burn your pie crust. She called me the next day after the reading was over, and she said, I cannot believe. She's like, I couldn't even say anything because I was crying. You couldn't hear me. I like muted the phone and I started crying because that was like the one complaint my grandma always had when my mom would burn the crust, and she didn't want me to burn the crust like my mom. That was like one of her constant concerns regarding Thanksgiving. The pie crust can't be burned. So like I would like pick up on weird stuff that had nothing to do with the cards, and you will too. The more you do it, the better you get. That's just the way it is. It's the way it's always going to be. Anyway, I have let this go 10 minutes longer than I expected. So I hope that you guys have enough time to listen to this one. But that's what my advice is about learning to read the tarot. Again, you could take tarot certification courses if you want. You don't have to. You could just start, hang out your shingle, or whatever. You can do a business online. Just do it for your friends. Do it on the side, whatever. If you guys want a professional reading from me, I'm currently charging $55. Between now and my birthday, we'll say, which is the 25th, I'll lower that to $44. So you get $11 off. And so for right now, you just have to tell me Angel44, that's your code. And until August 25th, 2019, which is my birthday, I will take $11 off. So $44 for a reading from me. And you can write me at metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com, and I'll give you all the details. But I will do either 3 questions, which is 3 cards each question, plus a follow-up question. And also, or a Celtic Cross reading, which is 10 cards and a follow-up question. You know, or if there's like a question on one of the cards, we can ask another card to simplify it or whatever. So you're going to get probably 12 cards all in all read, and it takes about an hour. I'll give you, with the music and everything, just like the show, I'll just send you the file, the audio file, and a photograph of the cards I read, and a photograph, and everything's done over the internet, a photograph of the notes that I took in my notebook for you, if you want me to do your reading. I'm not going to mention this every single day because I just don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to do it. I want to do it more. I enjoy doing this, and if you want a reading from me, just let me know. You know, PayPal is the same as my actual email. So it's all metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com. Anyway, I don't know, get your own dedicated Gmail email for your tarot readings so you could do it over the internet, and I don't know, you'll figure it out. Just Google how to have an online business if you didn't like the ideas I gave you. For sure, you could start your own website. You could do a free website on, why am I saying Meebo? Is that correct? Anyway, you could have your own tarot related articles, and then people could reach you from there. You could have a blog. There's a lot of ways you could do it. It's actually a pretty amazing way to make money, honestly. I enjoyed it quite a bit over the years when I literally did this to pay my rent for, a couple of years. Usually I just use this as a side hustle, extra money, but I enjoy doing it. I hope that you guys enjoy it too. And, well, good luck with your new tarot business. I love each and every one of you. I hope that you are doing well and happy and good, and that you are making hay while the sun shines, baby. Well, that's all I got to say about that. So I'm signing off now with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy 5th dimension. Until next time, guys, peace.